For the longest time, AI breakthroughs were something you expected to come from OpenAI, Google, or maybe Meta. But suddenly, out of nowhere, a Chinese research lab called DeepSeek pulled off something that has everyone in the tech world sitting up and paying attention. This could change the entire AI race. It also raises big questions like, is AI development becoming more about efficiency than raw spending power? Can China really catch up with the US despite tech restrictions? And what happens if developers start preferring DeepSeek over American AI models? Let's break it all down. Artificial intelligence has been dominated by a handful of companies that seemed untouchable. OpenAI, Google, and Meta had the best models, the deepest pockets, and the most powerful hardware. The idea that anyone, especially a little-known research lab from China, could suddenly challenge their dominance would have seemed absurd. Then DeepSeek happened. DeepSeek didn't just build another AI model. It built one that competes with the best in the world, and did it faster and cheaper than anyone thought possible. In just 2 months, with a reported budget of only $5.6 million, DeepSeek created an open-source AI that's now outperforming Meta's Llama 3, OpenAI's GPT-4, and Anthropic's Claude 3 on key benchmarks. That wasn't supposed to happen. DeepSeek's AI has already proven itself in areas that matter most to developers and researchers. In math problem-solving, coding challenges, and reasoning-based tests, DeepSeek has matched or exceeded results from models that cost hundreds of millions of dollars to develop. Its success wasn't an accident. It was the result of efficiency-driven innovation. While OpenAI and Google continue to scale up, building ever larger models with ever greater computational power, DeepSeek focused on optimization. It found ways to train AI faster, using fewer resources while still delivering high performance. Instead of relying on brute force computing, DeepSeek developed training techniques that made the process more streamlined and cost-effective. When DeepSeek revealed that its cutting-edge model had been built for just $5.6 million, the AI world took notice. For comparison, OpenAI reportedly spent over $100 million training GPT-4. The company is now burning through billions of dollars a year to stay ahead, relying on funding from Microsoft to support its operations. Google and Meta are also pouring tens of billions into AI, scaling their infrastructure to new levels. Yet DeepSeek, without those resources, still delivered results that put it in the same league as the biggest names in AI. This raises serious questions about the industry's approach to AI development. If DeepSeek can do this on a small budget, what does that mean for companies spending billions? Does AI really require massive investment, or have the biggest companies simply been spending inefficiently? Will more developers turn to open-source models like DeepSeek instead of paying for expensive, closed AI systems? DeepSeek's success has forced the industry to rethink everything. This is a wake-up call for AI giants. DeepSeek didn't just build a great model, it exposed a fundamental flaw in the way AI has been developed. For years, Silicon Valley has treated AI like an arms race, believing that the only way to stay ahead is to spend more, train bigger models, and use the most expensive hardware available. DeepSeek broke that cycle by proving that innovation isn't just about who has the biggest budget, it's about who can build smarter. This shift could have major consequences for the AI industry. If AI models can be trained for a fraction of the cost, then the idea that only billion-dollar companies can lead the field no longer holds up. Smaller labs, independent researchers, and even startups now have a real chance to compete, something that seemed impossible just a few years ago. DeepSeek isn't just another AI project, it's a challenge to the entire business model of AI development. And if companies like OpenAI and Google don't adapt, they might find themselves in a race they can no longer control. The AI world just got a lot more unpredictable. With that said, this is how DeepSeek beat the system and the restrictions. For years, the US government has treated AI development as a matter of national security. With AI increasingly linked to economic power, cybersecurity, and military applications, Washington made it a priority to slow down China's progress in the field. The most direct strategy? Cut off China's access to the most advanced AI hardware. In 2022, the US imposed strict export controls on NVIDIA's A100 and H100 GPUs, the same high-performance chips that power OpenAI's GPT-4, Google's Gemini, and Anthropic's Claude. The goal was simple. Without these chips, China wouldn't be able to train models capable of competing at the highest level. DeepSeek didn't just work around the restrictions. It proved that those restrictions might not even matter as much as people thought. Instead of using NVIDIA's H100 GPUs, DeepSeek trained its model using H800 GPUs, a downgraded version that NVIDIA designed specifically to comply with US trade regulations. The H800 has lower bandwidth and reduced computing speeds, meaning it processes data slower than its restricted counterpart. On paper, these limitations should have seriously hindered DeepSeek's ability to develop a cutting-edge AI model. Yet DeepSeek still happened. DeepSeek's AI was trained on these less powerful chips, yet it delivered performance on par with some of the most advanced models in the world. That raises a huge question. Are US restrictions actually slowing China down, or are they just forcing Chinese AI labs to get better at working with what they have? DeepSeek's success didn't come from brute force. It came from efficiency. While most AI labs rely on scaling up, throwing more powerful chips at the problem, DeepSeek focused on optimizing its training process to get the most out of the hardware available. Several strategies likely played a role in making this possible. Efficient data selection means DeepSeek could have trained its model on high-quality, targeted datasets rather than processing massive amounts of unnecessary data. Smarter model architecture could have reduced computational strain, allowing the AI to perform complex reasoning tasks without requiring excessive processing power. Memory and compute optimization techniques helped maximize performance on the H800s, pushing the hardware further than it was originally designed to go. The US imposed chip restrictions under the belief that AI dominance was tied directly to computing power, that the only way to build the best AI was to have the best hardware. But DeepSeek just proved that AI innovation isn't just about power, it's about efficiency. Instead of stopping China's AI progress, US trade policies may have forced DeepSeek and other Chinese AI labs to develop better, leaner training methods. These methods could now give them a long-term advantage, because they aren't just building AI, they're figuring out how to do it with fewer resources. This is a major shift. The traditional thinking in AI has been that whoever has the most computing power wins. If DeepSeek's approach becomes the standard, that assumption no longer holds. AI research could become less about access to top-tier GPUs and more about who can train models in the smartest, most cost-effective way. And that has big implications for the AI industry as a whole. DeepSeek's success proves that high-end hardware isn't the only way to win in AI. If China's AI labs continue to improve their efficiency, while US companies are still dependent on massive compute power, who really has the long-term advantage? This also raises new concerns about the effectiveness of US trade restrictions. If companies like DeepSeek can develop cutting-edge models despite hardware limitations, then what happens when they get access to better chips? At that point, they wouldn't just be catching up. They'd be building AI with both power and efficiency, something even Silicon Valley hasn't mastered yet. DeepSeek's success also raises a difficult question for US policymakers. If China can continue making breakthroughs despite these restrictions, are the policies actually achieving anything? Or are they simply encouraging China's AI researchers to find ways around them? Ways that could ultimately make them more resilient and independent from US technology. So the bottom line is, DeepSeek didn't just train an AI model. It proved that the rules of AI development are changing. Up until now, the belief was that AI progress depended on having the best hardware. The US placed restrictions on China's access to that hardware, expecting it to slow them down. Instead, DeepSeek found ways to train a world-class model without the best tools. Now, the industry is paying attention. If DeepSeek can achieve this under restrictions, what happens if they get their hands on better technology? If the future of AI is about efficiency rather than raw power, then DeepSeek may have just unlocked a new path forward, one that US companies may not be prepared for. The AI race isn't just about who has the best chips anymore. It's about who can do the most with what they have. And DeepSeek just proved that China is very much still in the game. The US has positioned itself as the leader in artificial intelligence. AI is not just an industry anymore because it is a strategic asset linked to economic strength, national security, and military power. American AI companies operate under regulatory oversight, aligning with policies that emphasize AI safety, ethical guidelines, and national interests. DeepSeek's rise shows that AI development is moving in a new direction. DeepSeek operates under different rules. OpenAI, has a well-documented charter outlining its commitment to safety and ethical considerations. DeepSeek and other Chinese AI firms must comply with government-imposed content regulations. Every AI model developed in China is required to reflect state-mandated values, avoid politically sensitive topics, and follow strict censorship policies. AI is shaping human knowledge. Chatbots, search engines, and automated content generators do more than provide answers. They influence the way information is interpreted. AI models are trained on massive datasets, which means that whoever controls the training data determines how history, politics, and global events are framed. Most widely used AI models come from American companies. OpenAI's GPT-4, Google's Gemini, and Meta's LLaMA are at the center of AI adoption. If DeepSeek's models become more accessible to developers, the dynamics of AI-generated content will shift. AI models built in China follow national guidelines. Existing research has shown that AI systems from Baidu and Tencent do not engage with politically sensitive topics. Queries about certain historical events, human rights issues, or political matters often receive vague responses or are ignored altogether. Widespread use of DeepSeek's models could introduce these constraints to digital platforms worldwide. Developers integrating DeepSeek's AI into applications may not realize that the system applies filters on specific discussions. Information presented by AI-powered services would be shaped by underlying content policies set in place long before end users interact with the model. US policymakers view AI leadership as a national priority. Maintaining technological influence has been a goal for years. The government has imposed restrictions on AI chip exports, strengthened collaborations on AI safety, and promoted domestic AI research. DeepSeek's rise signals a shift in how AI is developed. Workarounds in AI training have emerged despite barriers to high-end hardware. DeepSeek's model did not require the most powerful GPUs to reach a high level of performance. New approaches in AI development have taken form under these constraints. This situation has led to discussions on how the US can respond. If existing policies do not slow down competing AI development, alternative strategies may be explored. Once a model like DeepSeek's is released as open source, it becomes widely accessible. Developers can modify and integrate the model into their systems. Open source AI is difficult to restrict once it has been made publicly available. AI companies will need to focus on how models are built, distributed, and implemented. DeepSeek's efficiency could attract businesses looking for AI solutions. The expansion of AI models into different industries will affect search engines, automated content creation, education, and research. AI-generated content in digital platforms influences what people read, learn, and trust. AI-powered tools in education present information in structured ways. These applications contribute to shaping the way knowledge is processed. The increasing role of AI models in digital services raises questions about long-term control over AI-driven narratives. The development and deployment of AI systems will shape access to information for years to come. DeepSeek's breakthrough is changing how AI is created and applied. AI systems process vast amounts of data, and the sources of that data determine what the model understands as factual. The way AI is designed, trained, and used has far-reaching effects. Decisions on AI development today will influence public knowledge, political engagement, and digital services moving forward. Governments, companies, and institutions recognize the impact of AI in shaping global discourse. AI systems are being positioned as tools that will affect decision-making across multiple sectors. DeepSeek's advancements are part of an ongoing transformation in AI development. The future of AI is being shaped by those creating, training, and deploying these models. The changes happening now will determine how AI interacts with the world. Finally, how did DeepSeek affect the market? The release of DeepSeek's AI model sent ripples through the US stock market, particularly among tech companies that have built their dominance on artificial intelligence. Investors had been operating under the assumption that AI development would remain the domain of firms with access to the most advanced chips, billion-dollar funding rounds, and exclusive training infrastructure. DeepSeek's ability to develop a cutting-edge AI model with far less capital and weaker hardware raised immediate concerns about whether the current AI investment strategy was built on solid ground. This shift was reflected in the market almost instantly. Shares of Nvidia, the leading AI chip maker, fell as investors questioned whether the demand for its most powerful GPUs would remain as high as expected. What about you? What do you think of these advancements? Let us know what you think in the comments. Are we headed toward an open AI revolution, or is this just another change in the cycle? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what happens next in the world of AI. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.